Hello YouTube, it's Lion with Hobbies of a Man here once again, and today we're gonna do another light novel review. We're gonna be talking about Occultic 9, Volume 1. There you go. That's it. This is a J Novel Club book, but it's published by 7 Seas. So I think if any of you guys buy a new version, it might be the small 7 Seas, the small J Novel Club one, not this big one. This is like the regular light novel size, the Yanon style. But there's like the One Piece books version that's smaller. J Novel Club publishes mostly in this size. So yeah, there might be some differences. This is by Shikura Chiyomaru, and the art is by Paco, who has a very similar art style to Ida Poki, or Poki Ida, the guy that did Okasan Online. And this is published by 7 Seas, like I said, but it's actually a J Novel Club title. The genres for this are paranormal science and suspense, so this is not an isekai. This is more akin to maybe a Scooby-Doo type of situation, like, comedic, slightly comedic, but mostly detective-y kind of stuff. Maybe something like Dresden Files might work as a comparison. Yeah, so how am I gonna review this? So my reviews focus on 5 things. There's 3 things that are graded or rated, which would be the plot line, the characters in the book, and the world building. Obviously, I'm reviewing the book, and these are for a rating out of 5 or 10, depending on how you scale it. I'll give each one of them a review out of 5, add them together, divide by 3, and then round to the nearest 0.5 to have a consistent scaling. And yeah, the other 2 things that I care about are the art and the fan service, and that's because they're important to people that are watching reviews, because some people might not like fan service and some people might be put off by the art. So yeah, let's start with the premise. So the premise of this book is a little funky, kind of. There's like this occurrence, which I'm not exactly clear on. I think someone dies in a way that wouldn't make sense. It's like a locked room, and he's like screaming, and then he dies, and no one knows why. Well, someone knows why, but no one else does. And then there's a bunch of these characters, these random people that are somehow connected to each other and to the event through the occult, because they're either occultists or they're deniers or believers or whatever. They're all different, but they are still connected through this through the occult, or the hobby of the occult. And this volume mostly focuses on 5 specific characters. It focuses on Gammon, Ryuka, Miyu, Arya, and Sarai, I think his name is. Oh, well, and Sarai's dad. So let's get into the actual evaluation. So the plot line is kind of really unclear. It's not exactly easy to discern, and you spend the whole time trying to like read it to see if it clears up, but it never truly clears up. It just kind of like becomes less muddled, at least for me. I don't know, maybe I just wasn't paying attention when I was reading. I don't know, that's entirely possible. It's rather intriguing though. I think it's like a murder mystery, but it's like confusing, I guess is the right word, because there's elements of magic, there's elements of like actual criminals, and you don't know what is what, and stuff happens, but you're not sure why because the timeline is a little wonky. But yeah, I think the plot line was not amazing, but good enough to keep you entertained for the whole book. I would read it in small intervals of 50 pages over a couple of days. And every time I finished reading my 50 pages, I didn't want to put it down, but I did because I had other stuff to do. Mostly focuses on setting the stage and bringing the characters together, because they're not all together. They run in similar circles and in really similar areas, but they're not friends or they're not linked. And so the volume mostly focuses on getting them connected. And yeah, that's that for the plot line. The characterization is pretty good. The cast is really large, actually. There's different points of view, and I can think of like 8 points of view or 9. It's like a large number. The perspective changes are sometimes not exactly clear though, which is a nitpick of mine, because it's not really a characterization thing, because their voices are different enough. It's just that the spacing isn't there to show you that the perspective is shifting to a different character. But yeah, every character is clear. They're all differently motivated. They're all different people. One of them is like this weirdo, neat kid. The other one is like this hyper intelligent college student who like hates that his dad is famous. There's like the crazy chick, and then there's like the e-girl. She's like, okay, no, she's not an e-girl, but she's like the Twitch streamer of the group on like this thing called Nico, which I think is an actual type of streaming service in Japan or like in East Asia. She's like a fortune teller. And then there's like the crazy lolly character. She like makes dolls and she's like super creepy, and she's like, she has magic abilities and stuff. So the characters are clear and interesting, and they're all different. So this is, again, the best part of the book. And then the world building is probably the weakest. It's slightly different from real world, because this Japan, the world in the book, actively believes that the occult can be proven by science, even if it's like a bit ridiculous, or more people are accepting of the fact that science could prove the occult, which is a little different from us. It's also it's just regular Japan, but there's magic as well, so maybe it's almost like a magical realism type of story. It was probably the weakest part, but it was still interesting enough. The premise was interesting. Sarai's dad is like a television star that deals with the occult. He's like an occult scientist. He was like on this Ancient Aliens type of show, talking during like a part of the book, and everyone was like not being serious, but he was. And then he realized it at the end, but he was like, well, I don't care, as long as I get the word around, someone will listen to me. That's the world building in a nutshell. The rating I gave this book is a 4, because I thought everything was better than Okasan online. And then, oh well, the art is very good. I quite enjoy it. It's very surreal, maybe is the word. You see how their faces are similar to Okasan online. And the coloring is really pretty. I like this dark gradient over here. I like that it's all in sunset. There you go, that's at the cafe. That's kind of near the end of the book. And then there's this is the panel that shows all the characters, or well, most of them. This guy doesn't show up in the book. These are the 5 characters I was talking about. That's Gammon, and then that's Ryuka, Sarai, Miri, Arya. And then these other ones. He's like the actual detective. And then these two show up briefly. I think one of them has a perspective, but I don't remember which one. He's right into the fan service. It's minimal here. It's mostly this character. Just think about boobs. And mostly because she has big ones. And that's the extent of the fan service, really. That's basically it. There's no one going crazy over panties or anything like that. You know, pretty normal. And yeah, like I said, I rate this a 4 out of 5 or an 8 out of 10, whatever. You guys decide, or whatever works better for you. And yeah, I would recommend it. I'll buy volume 2 as soon as I can afford to do so. Which might be pretty soon, maybe. This is definitely much more of a priority than Okusan online, but it's also not that much of a priority because I'd rather read new first volumes to find the ones that I really want to collect. And yeah. What else? Similar titles, I would think. Dresden Files, maybe. Scooby-Doo. Sherlock Holmes to an extent, but not really. Well, I've never actually read Sherlock Holmes. But I've seen enough television about it to be like, it's probably close enough-ish. Maybe not. Maybe ignore that last one. But yeah, is there anything else I need to talk about? I don't think so. Oh, the formatting of the book. So, technically speaking, this book is formatted by date. Okay, so it mentions the date of the book and the date in the day. It mentions the date, and then it tells you what happened during that date. And it also has this like forums thing, kind of like that Thelmus Files book, which is written in terms of written as a log of conversations. But mostly, usually, it's just regular text. It's just sometimes it switches to these forums when it's talking about the website that Gammon runs. And that's it. That's the whole thing. I think I mentioned it at the beginning of the of the video, but please like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. Share light novel titles with me that I should check out. Let me know if anything I said is wrong or anything like that. And you guys have a nice night. Thank you very much. See you guys.